Hello guys, it's Wes Harrison with Above and Beyond Auto Repair, and I am on my way home from Colorado from doing some indoor skydiving training. And so since I have a 9-hour drive, I'm making some videos about most common repair questions I get asked. And this one is about AC compressors. Now, air conditioning is quite expensive, and I understand that it's expensive, and there are times where you will want to save some money or you can't afford to have a shop do it, and I completely understand. So I want to give you some tips if you're going to undertake the project yourself. First off, if you take your AC compressor lines off and there are metal shavings in the oil, or if the oil comes out anything but clear, nice and clean and clear, you've got catastrophic compressor failure. All the lines, the condenser, the orifice tube, the evaporator, all of it, the receiver dryer, all of it has to be taken apart, has to be flushed out. The receiver dryer must be replaced. The orifice tube must be replaced. Now, if it has an expansion valve, which is Chrysler and some Toyotas, if it has an expansion valve, and you'll know it has an expansion valve, the expansion valve itself can be cleaned. But you've got to flush everything out. Now, AC flush can be very expensive also. Denatured alcohol works very good for flushing it out. If you use some denatured alcohol, put it in there and push some air through it backwards, it'll get the oil and the metal shavings and all that stuff out. Here's what'll happen: if you get a brand new AC compressor and you put it on yourself and you don't flush everything else out, the contamination from the other compressor will lock up and ruin the brand new compressor, and the parts store will not give you a warranty on it. They won't warranty it out at all because it's got contamination in it, and you can tell right off the bat. So if you're changing your AC compressor, when you take off the AC lines off the back of the compressor and the oil is dirty, you've got to flush out everything. Now, be warned, there are some condensers that you cannot flush out. You have to replace the condenser. It's some Fords are that way. It has the orifice tube built right into the condenser, right as it's leaving the condenser, and you can't flush them out. You can't flush them backwards. You've got to replace the condenser. It's kind of rare, but it's one of those things that you need to be aware of. Some Fords also, and more it's happening quite a bit, the orifice tube is actually the part of the high side line. If you call the parts store, they will tell you, as a general rule of thumb, that no, the orifice tube's part of the line assembly, and you'll have to wind up getting the line assembly. Now, with that understanding, the receiver dryer, if there's any contamination, just throw it away and get another one. You can't clean that out. The reason that you can't clean it out, even though it seems like an empty tube or empty can that acts as an accumulator, it's not. It is an accumulator also, but it's also a dryer. It's got desiccant down in the bottom of it to get rid of any moisture that's in the AC system. AC systems cannot have any moisture in them whatsoever. The water will freeze and it plugs up the system. It'll make the high side go too high and it'll lock up the compressor, or it'll blow a line assembly, do all kinds of weird stuff. So there's desiccant built into the receiver dryer. The receiver dryer, just replace it. They're cheap. Just get another one. If the car's an older car and you notice that the threads are kind of not wanting to cooperate, that's real common from the corrosion of the aluminum. You can try penetrating oil, you can try a little heat. You really just got to be really careful and pray to the big guy above that he's working with you. Otherwise, the threads are gonna come off, and you're gonna wind up having to get a line assembly anyways. But that's the way the game goes on that one. There's not a lot you can do. On the other hand, if you take the lines off the back of the AC compressor and it's nice and clean, take the compressor, turn it upside down, and get some of the oil out of it. If the oil comes out and it looks perfectly crystal clear clean, that means that you haven't had a catastrophic compressor failure, and that you're probably changing it because of an external failure, either the clutch or something broke, which in a lot of cases it's a lot cheaper to buy a whole AC compressor assembly than it is to buy the clutch assembly and change out the clutch assembly. I don't know why that is, but that's the way it is. If it's clean, I recommend that you flush the system and do all that stuff anyways, but you don't necessarily have to. Now, I do it because it's for the warranty. If the parts company finds out you didn't change everything when you bought the compressor, they won't give you a warranty, but they won't tell you that until after, if anything goes wrong with your aftermarket AC compressor. And I will also let you know this. I have enough problems with aftermarket AC compressors that unless you're really in a tight pinch, you want a shop to do it, and you want a shop to give you the warranty on it, because for whatever reason there's a very high failure rate on aftermarket AC compressors. They just, especially remanufactured ones, and the new ones are just way too expensive, so generally you get a remanufactured one. They have a high failure rate. I'm talking about 1 out of 5 usually, and it's universally every summer. I cringe on AC jobs because I'm wondering which one of the 5 I'm going to get to do again for free. It's just, that's the nature of the beast. One year I had a Freestar that I did 3 times. 3 times. Oh my God. Customer paid once, but I had to eat it 3 times. And I didn't really eat it. I went back to the manufacturer and it took them a year and a half to pay me, but still, real high failure rate. So just beware on that one. When you get a new AC compressor, make sure to check to see if it has oil in it. There should be a sticker on it. And if it's a dry compressor, it's what they call a dry compressor, be sure to find out the specifications for how much oil it needs and what kind of oil they want you to put in it. Now, I will tell you this tip. If you opt not to flush out everything because it's all nice and clean, you don't have to worry about the oils. They will intermix just fine. You won't have any problems with that. That won't cause a failure at all. Now, they can try and tell you it will, but it won't. I've been doing it for years and years and years, and in a tight pinch, I've put on used AC compressors, and I've warned people, you know, it's a used one, don't know how long it's going to last, and I'll put in PAG oil or ester oil or whatever. It's just oil that's compatible with R134A, and I, knock on wood, never had a problem. So just want to let you know. So there's the lowdown and the scoop on changing out your AC compressors. If you have any questions, or if you want me to do it, feel free to give me a call, 816-453-8282. I will try to answer any questions that you might have. Oh, I forgot to tell you, once you're all done, you've got to take it to a shop and get it under a vacuum. Now, I don't know if you're familiar with Harbor Freight tools, but they actually have a little vacuum, an air-driven vacuum device, and those little things work great, man. They're 20 bucks, and it's a little diaphragm that blows air across the little hole, creates, and it'll do 28 inches of vacuum, and it works great. They're noisy as all get out, but they work great. That beats spending $300 for a vacuum pump, or you can run it to the shop. You know, I just charge a guy $20 or something to hook up vacuum pump to their AC system. The longer you can leave it in the vacuum, especially once you've had the system opened, the better off you are. Try to leave it on a vacuum for 4 to 5 hours. What the vacuum does is it lowers the boiling point of any water, and at 28 inches of vacuum, water will boil like 60 degrees. It boils out all the moisture out of the system, gets rid of all the moisture. When you just opened up the system, just the moisture in the atmosphere of just everyday life is enough moisture to contaminate the system. So it's very important that you have it pulled down into a vacuum and let it sit for at least an hour. And if you have longer to hold it down in a vacuum, hold it down in a vacuum, and then charge it up. I've seen a lot of times where people will change stuff and they think the vacuum's not important. They'll go ahead and try and charge it, and the AC system doesn't work, and it's because it's got moisture in it. And what happens is the water freezes, acts as a plug, sends the high side pressures way high. You don't get any cooling inside the car, but if you look on the outside, it's all frozen around where it's plugged up at, and it's just, evacuation is very important. So that was it. Sorry. One more time, if you have any questions, feel free to give us a call, 816-453-8282, and you can find us online at aboveandbeyondautorepair.com. Thank you very much, and have a good day.